Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Sisters in Company talking about it.
Yes, yes.
We are back here in the studio live today. As you all may remember from last week's show, we were prepping for our third annual Woman Thou Art Great conference. I have on my t-shirt.
Yes.
We had the conference yesterday. It was a huge success. And so as a result, we have some studio guests here, and I cannot wait to engage them in some dialogue. You will see I have my dad here. He is dressed to the nine, as he always is. He is matching from head to toe. And you want to be on Listen Vision Live so you can see him dressed head to toe. And of course, I have my mom sitting next to him dressed from head to toe. So they make a great dress couple. I'm just overly excited to have them in the studio with us today.
Yes, I'm going to tell you, it was just absolutely amazing. Being the host of the conference, it's always so awesome to see all of your plans come to fruition the way that you have envisioned your plans to come. So I'm excited about the guests that we have in the show today. And, we can always talk about the show from our perspective, but to have guests here to give you a little bit about their experience so that you can prepare to come to next year's conference is always a plus.
Oh, absolutely. Yesterday was our Season of Significance themes
that was our theme.
Conference. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, if you don't know that it's your season for significance, it's time for you to pay attention.
Yes.
Because we're going to bring it to you. We're going to give you an overview of what the conference was, about the speakers, about some key points they made. We're going to talk to you about the fun we had.
Goodness, yes.
We can't go anywhere without turning it into a party. So, we were in there singing, party over here, ain't nothing over there. Well, at least I was. I don't know if anybody else was singing it.
Yes, yes.
The DJ had us cranked up. We were in there throwing down. Mm-hmm. And so it was just a great time had by all.
Yes. And so what I'd like to do as normal, I'm trying to get this plugged in, but I would
Let me help you with that.
Start out with scripture, because everything that we do is rooted in the word and our spirituality. And so today's scripture is 1 Corinthians 2:9, and it simply says, "But as it is written, I have not seen nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him." And there was a lot of love in the room yesterday.
Yes.
And God prepared us for some things that we had not seen, nor had we heard. And so it was so powerful. And that's the takeaway that I have from this conference in terms of, God, we haven't seen or heard what's going to be next for this conference, and I'm so excited about it.
I can't wait to see what's next. When I think back over the past 3 years, all I can say is it's getting bigger and better.
Yes, absolutely.
It's just such a fulfilling experience that, when we walk in that room, we let go of things that we carried into that room. And when we walk out changed women, women who have at least something to think about.
Yes.
Everything that's discussed in that conference, somebody can relate to it,
yes.
if not everybody. Mm-hmm. Our stories may be different, but our stories may be the same, but our journeys are definitely different.
Right. And like I shared with the ladies again yesterday, when I envisioned this conference, I really wanted to talk about all things pertaining to women, because there are some things that we as women, only we know that we go through, and sometimes we just feel like we're in it alone. And so we really have some authentic and transparent conversations about all things women. And what ends up happening normally, we had a lot of first-timers this year too.
We did.
What ends up happening is people come in, they don't know what to expect. And then when they see the genuineness, the love, the transparency, they just loosen up and just go with the flow. And so, and as Sherelle always says to them, we want to make sure that when you leave here, you're not leaving the same way that you came in. We need you to be different in some way, in a good way, as you exit the building.
And I cannot go any further with this show without pointing out that Sharon is stepping outside of her comfort zone. And she is doing this show without any handwritten notes and without any typed up perfectly notes. So I'm just going to put that out there so you'll know she winging it. And so this is
I can
great.
wing it. It's just that's not my learning style.
I understand. But I needed our audience to know that she's winging it today.
I can wing it.
Yeah, she can. Look at her. It's impressive. We also have some other guests in the studio with us, so you're going to hear some laughter from time to time
in the background.
So we have Lorraine Jarvis, our very good sister friend from New York, here in the studio with us. We also have our sister friend Trina Bostic, who was a speaker at the conference yesterday. We also have our youngest sister, Kiani Williams, also known as
Keekster.
In here. We passed the mic over there, but she probably won't say nothing, but that's okay. And then we also have Willita Hawkins, Dr. We to Be in the house, Minister Willita. Mm-hmm. So we have quite a few guests here today.
And we're expecting more.
Imagine that.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
So we know that we wanted to talk about the conference. So let's just chat about it because you and I really, haven't had a chance to really talk about it from our various perspectives. So what was the highlight of the conference for you?
For me, I was the highlight.
Look, I set myself up for that one.
Yes, you did. Okay, I was the mistress of ceremony, so, I was the highlight. I was looking good. I was dressed to the nine, morning and afternoon, did a little outfit change, kept the crowd laughing, kept the crowd energized. So if you want to ask me next to me, what was the highlight? I will tell you. Wow, I certainly enjoyed all of the speakers. I really enjoyed your keynote address, and I also really enjoyed Coach Kelly.
Yes.
I thought Coach Kelly was phenomenal, and Dr. Lori. Oh, I tell you, Dr. Lori.
Words.
And, in all transparency, let me just tell you, the pathologist took me down.
Okay.
And I think she thought she was teaching medical students.
Okay.
And so I thought she went too deep into her presentation, talking about cancer cells. But I think it was informative, but I think it was too much. And so I would say Dr. Lori did a phenomenal job coming behind her and shifting the topic and the focus to really talk about how, as an oncologist herself, her experience with having breast cancer. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a phenomenal segment.
Yes, and I would have to kind of take up for Carolyn because she did exactly what I asked her to do. Okay. Because I wanted her to educate the room, and we say it's too much information, but it's only too much information when we don't need it, when it don't pertain to us. But when it pertains to you, it's not too much information. And so one of the things that I know that a lot of women said about the pathologist report and her speech was that they remember the color purple, right? And so those of you that were there, you understand, and I thought the imagery was so very important because we talk a lot about things that we have not seen or we just don't understand. So I thought she was phenomenal. She did exactly what I wanted her to do. I thought that the mammographer technologist, the pathologist, and the oncologist balanced each other out. And so I thought that real education was important to have that conversation and for us to see it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think she gave the information that we needed to hear, but I just thought it went on too long. So anyway, that's just me. I'm sure I wasn't alone in that.
But I'm sure I wasn't alone in people who walked away and didn't think it was too much.
Right.
So,
that's
there's
exactly
a balance.
right. And we said we was going to have real talk on here, so this is real talk.
Absolutely. The balance.
I thought, the conference was 100% a success. I can't complain. I thought it was great. I absolutely I think the audience absolutely loves the part when we move from exercise to party. That is always a winner. And as a matter of fact, when people first hear the music for the exercise part, there was a lady in the back. I had to go stand next to her and tell her this not the party piece because she was back there throwing down instead of exercising. She was hitting her two-step. So I thought that was great. I think, there is nothing like seeing a room full of women.
My goodness.
come together for a positive reason.
That is right.
And to share and network for a positive purpose. And as you said in your keynote speech that, they say that women can't come together for a good thing. I tell you, the conference, we came together for a good thing.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it was one person who left out of that room who did not have a positive experience.
Right. And she's talking about my keynote address. When I envisioned the conference 3 years ago, I knew in the third year for some reason that I would keynote, and the title of the keynote was Season of Significance, but the underscoring theme was Settle It. We need to settle some things about our significance. Some of us go back and forth and waver whether or not we're significant. Well, we are significant, and that's just the bottom line. We are women. We were put on this earth to be helpmates, which I feel is a role of power and strength, not weakness. And so we need to own that and walk in that, because this season is going to require us women to do some things. We're nurturers, and so we're going to have to bring some love and some nurturing to this earth to help it heal, and that's our role. That's our power. And so that was the kind of the gist of my talk yesterday, and just getting women energized. And one of the things you will never see at my conference is finger pointing, blaming people, telling people that you're bad, you're this, you're that. No, we are there to empower and to enlighten. And when you walk out of there, because it is a one-day conference, we want you to be energized to go and do something different, or go and reach that goal that you have planned for yourself. We want you to do something. And so as a result, I make sure that I have someone to provide a testimony. And the young lady that couldn't be there yesterday, but her name was Lisa Long, and she was a first-time attendee last year. And she wrote a letter that I read, and of course it's in the conference booklet. Let me show you this conference booklet, because it is amazing. This booklet started with David Shelton. He is amazing. He designed it the first 2 years for us. And this year he was not available, so my graphic artist, Van Johnson, developed this one and designed it for me. And so we just keep it short and simple. We want to make sure that it's beautiful. We have the photos, we have everything inside of here, so that we don't have to hand out pieces of paper. So I like to write on paper, but I don't like to have people writing on paper with thousands of pieces of paper.
Yes, we know she likes to write on paper. And as a matter of fact, it was hilarious to me as we were planning for the conference. She said, okay, so I'm going to have to get you my bio.
That's right.
I said, oh, okay. I only been knowing her 51 years, so I didn't know what she was going to write on that paper that I didn't already know.
Goodness.
And so we got to the conference the night before. I was like, you had your bio? Because I knew I wasn't going to use it. And she said, yes. And I said, okay. She said, well, I have to print it out and get it to you. So I said, okay. So the next morning, right before we walk in to start the conference, she hands me her bio. It was 3 pages. And so I held on to it until it was time to read the bio, and then I just threw it up in the air and said, I'm not using that. I have something else I'm going to use. I wrote my own bio. I wrote her bio for her.
She is a mess. That's all I have to say.
It was a good one, too.
Yeah. I didn't expect her to read the 3 pages. I just wanted to use it for reference, if you needed to pull something out.
Oh, right.
But
I did an acrostic with her name, first, middle, and last name, and really described who she was, not necessarily what she does.
Yeah, that was beautiful. And so I would be remiss. Let me just tell you something. There were so many people that supported, who purchased tickets because they couldn't be there. People that gave us a helping hand, because it's a lot of work to put on a conference. Everyone that took out a journal ad and just gave me words of encouragement. People that sent me text messages of prayer that morning. People that were just sharing the conference all over social media. WHUR for always being there to help me promote the conference. The Afro-American newspaper for always coming and capturing the moment. And so I'm looking forward to getting the article and the pictures from the Afro-American so that I can share it widely with our guests and our attendees, because they are just phenomenal. Because the conference cannot be successful without all the people who helped us to get it done. And then I don't know what to say. It's not enough money in the world that I can give to my quality assurance team. And as I told the ladies yesterday, we have got to get into a posture of being comfortable with women who have a different skill set than you have, right?
Yes.
Because I can't do it all, and I'm just very clear about that. I can do a lot, but I can't do it all, not effectively. And so my quality assurance team, I have to call them out again. That's Cynthia Barnaby. I always call her my quiet storm, and she is, she probably should have been in the military. She's so tight, and she catches things. She pulls me in when I need to be pulled in. Dr. Marcia Cradle out of Atlanta, who couldn't be there, so we called her out in her absence. But Marcia is a creative mind, and just a matter of fact, and she knows me pretty well, so she knows, what I like and what I don't like. Then we have Dr. Yvonne DeColo, who just kind of sits back and then waits her turn. And then she comes and tells me what she thinks needs to happen, and it's always right on point. And, of course, my sister Sherelle, the conference, honestly, probably would not be as great as it is without the MC, because I can't, as the host, make sure everything is running right, make sure everybody is comfortable, because you need someone who's going to keep the flow going, someone who has some comedic relief and all kinds of things. And Sherelle is masterful at that. And actually, a lot of people came up to me and they were like, "Your sister, she missed her calling. She should have had her own show." I mean, just all kinds of things. And so
it's not too late. Somebody prophesied over that for me yesterday.
Yes.
And told me that this is exactly what's going to happen.
Wow.
And quite a few people came to me as well. And I was sharing this with Jim yesterday. He wasn't that impressed, but real talk, he wasn't. I told him, I said, a lot of people came up to me and told me that I should have been a comedian and that I should pursue being a comedian. He didn't really think I was funny, so I was just like, whatever. But, as soon as I start doing my comedy tour, he's going to be the first one trying to get some of my money. I already know.
That is hilarious. Well, you are on your way to retire, and so there is a next life. So,
absolutely.
And if that's what
53 months.
That's right, 53 months. And if that is what God is going to have you to do, then it shall be done.
It shall
right?
be done.
It shall be done, and we're all going to be rooting for you and going with you. And so I wanted to show you all. I showed you the booklet, which is just absolutely beautiful. The back, just beautiful, and has everything in it. I try to keep things kind of compact, because we as women, we carry a lot of stuff. I know I do.
Especially our youngest sister, Kiki. Yeah. She the bag lady.
Yes.
Every time me and her go somewhere, she have 13 bags.
And you can talk about this, Marcia.
Okay, and
yes.
so Dr. Marcia Cradle, she identifies quotes, very uplifting, encouraging, empowering quotes, and she does these tent cards for each person at the conference. And this particular one says, "Never limit yourself because of others.
Yes.
Limited imagination.
Wow.
Never limit others because of your own limited imagination."
Wow.
And so each woman gets a quote placed at their seat so that they have something to immediately connect to when they sit down and get ready for the conference.
And I love gifts. And so I just think that every woman that leaves should have something memorable from the conference, and not just anything. Most people that know me, I can drink everything out of a glass, actually.
Yeah,
Coffee,
yes.
everything. And so on this particular glass, this is a coffee mug, and it has the logo of the conference, "Woman, Thou Art Great," just like the logo that Sherelle has on the T-shirt. And what's so special about this one is that it has a lid. Because, sometimes we're in a meeting, we're drinking coffee, and we have to run out. And so what do? We just leave it open, or we'll put a paper towel or something over it. So this one has just a little top that you put on it, and you can sit it down and protect it from the elements. And so I thought that was cute. The audience thought it was great. The food was absolutely amazing.
Always.
I didn't know how the women were going to respond, because I served the same food that I had last year, because in the evaluation, they raved about the conference, but they also raved about the food. And when they raved about that food, I knew then. I said, we're going back to the same food. And so the food was amazing. And as I tell you all, I always try to treat people the way I want to be treated when I go to a conference. And so when you come into my house, I'm going to treat you a certain kind of way, the way that I want to be treated. So everything is first class, because we deserve it. we don't deserve, nothing less than first class, in my opinion.
And what I really like about that coffee mug is Sharon talked about using it in the workplace. If you that person in the workplace that most people don't like you, when you can cover up your stuff so that they don't slip nothing in your drink when you step away from it. And if you that person, because sometimes I'm that person, but it's all right.
Oh God, what am I gonna do with her?
Every time I leave my office, I lock the door because I'm like, y'all not coming in here while I'm not looking.
And also, moving right along. Of course,
y'all know that. Y'all know that's the truth. You better stop playing. Everybody ain't all in love at work, and everybody ain't liked. So if you that person, most people don't like you. Get yourself together. Get you a lid on that cup.
And how many of us as women, we have 1,000 ink pens in our pocketbooks that we can't ever find. And so every year I make sure that you have a personalized ink pen. But the beauty of it is it's in a little pouch. And so you can just take it and just snap it on the side of your bag so that you don't ever have to worry about it. And when it's in your pocketbook, you don't have to think about which pen am I going to use today. And then we had Unique Brooks came, and she blessed us with some homemade shea butter.
Yes.
And it is amazing. So please try it. If you didn't get a chance, make sure you use it. And, of course, we always have a pack of tissue.
Because there's always tears.
There's always tears of joy.
Yes.
Tears of joy. Tears of people are just amazed at the women who come and participate. So just a little bit about, before we move on to our guests, just a little bit about what we talked about yesterday. We had a panel of women who either were recently diagnosed as cancer-free or had some type of diagnosis of cancer. So we had one person that was breast cancer-free. We had another young lady who was breast cancer-free, but then less than a year later, she got breast cancer again in a different breast. And then we had one that had lung cancer, stage 4 lung cancer. And when I tell you, they modeled in, they came in, they had pep in their step, and they just really talked about their diagnoses and why it was significant in this season, and how it just kind of changed their lives in terms of how they view the world, and it gave them perspective. And which is was so powerful.
Well, one of the things, Sharon talked about how they came in. One of the things about our conference is, we don't want anybody coming into the conference with their head held low.
No.
Because this is all about uplifting. And so one of the ground rules is you have to walk in your greatness.
That is correct.
And so the ladies that were on the panel, and all the ladies that participated, had to walk in their greatness every time that they were up out of their seats. So that's always a sight to be seen. Some women, you could tell, just waiting on their turn to walk in their greatness. And so they hit it just right. Because if you could have seen one of our speakers, Trina Bostic, walking in her greatness, it was phenomenal.
Yes.
I loved it. And so, that's always a good thing. In that panel, I tell you, on that same panel, there's a Dr. Yvonne Colo, whose mom passed from cancer.
Oh,
and so, yes, you need tissues. I was trying not to mess up my makeup, but I still needed to use some tissues. And so just kind of listening to their stories, and then, again, all of our journeys are unique, but, they all had the same story.
Yes.
And so when it's all said and done, it was some key takeaways. One was, don't go on that journey alone.
That's right.
Don't think you're doing your friends and your family a favor.
That's right.
By not sharing your diagnosis with them. Let them love on you.
Right.
And family members and friends, another takeaway was show up.
Show up.
Show up. And show up and show up again, because when you have that type of illness, you definitely don't want to be alone, and you need a support system. And as Trudy said, she told them when they showed up, don't show up sad.
Yes.
Show up with lots of laughter.
That's
she
right.
wanted to laugh through it.
Yes.
And so that's a good thing.
Yes.
Laughter is good for the soul.
And Yvonne talked about her mom, and the title of her speech yesterday was, "But I'm here today. I'm here now."
Right.
And that's just powerful. And that cancer, it really didn't kill her mama. It was just time for her mama to go.
Right.
So don't give cancer so much power. Her mama knew that she was born and then she had to die. right? And cancer would just happen to be that thing,
Right.
right? And so, we need to stop giving things so much power. And so it was just phenomenal the entire day. And Yvonne told the story about her mom, and every time I think about it, because she told me so many years ago about it, is that her mom was sick in the back of the car as they were driving to Duke, and I was just blessed. It just blessed my soul, actually. And every time her mom was sick, she would throw up a little bit, and she would come back and put on her red lipstick. That was her thing, right? She found something that was her thing that made it possible during that journey. And so these are the types of stories that the women are pouring into other women. And then we've already talked about the panel, but we had the mammographer technologist, we had the pathologist and the oncologist. And I tell you, as I said to the ladies yesterday, I just felt like I would have been... I just wouldn't have been doing the conference any justice just to have women who had testimonies. We need to be educated about this because we just hear too much about cancer. So what is it? Where is it attacking our body? So we had visual images, just everything. So it was just powerful.
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely
Miss
loved
Bobby.
it.
Oh, we can't forget Miss Bobby.
If you don't know Miss Bobby,
my goodness.
you need to ask somebody.
Yes.
Now, ladies, if you were not at the conference, let me give you some takeaways.
Yes.
Number one, get your man's social security number, his date of birth.
That's right.
She told us that last year. So when she did her speech this year, she said
reminded you.
she don't need to go over that part because she already told us that last year. So in the event something happened, you already have his social security number and his date of birth. Don't be afraid to get that information from him. She also said, make sure you have your own money set aside so you can take care of yourself. Don't put all your eggs in one basket and then, he decide he don't want to be with you no more and he loved it somebody else. And he walk away from you. Yes, I said loved it because that's how it goes. He walk away from you and then you stuck like Chuck without your own money. Make sure you are prepared to take care of yourself. Now, you want to stay with him because you love him because as women, we fall in love and we fall hard. Yes. We will love a man more than we love ourselves. And in the conference yesterday, Miss Bobby said that's not how it's supposed to be.
That's right. And Miss Bobby is a 70-plus-year-old woman, staying about 5'2" with her stilettos on.
Absolutely.
And she is absolutely fabulous. And so then for those of you who have never attended the conference, I think one of the highlights actually of the conference are the portraits.
Yes.
Every year, my logo on my for-profit business, the Dr. SDC Corporation, I have the diamond, the stars, and the pearls. And so I decided the first year that I would do a star honoree, a diamond honoree, and a pearl honoree. And so the first 2 years, my niece, at the time she was 15, created images in the people's likeness that I gave her the names of. And so we do these unveiling, and I read a description. Nobody knows until I get to the end of that description who is going to be the honoree. This year, because Dominique is at college, she could not do the portraits for me. Cousin Ruth, who is absolutely amazing, Ruth White, I just don't even know what to say.
Oh, my goodness. She did a
that
fabulous
unveiling
job.
of that portrait, and I never see the portraits until the day of, believe it or not. And so when she unveiled that portrait, so Miss Bobby was an honoree, my sister Kiki, and then my girlfriend Lorraine, they were all honorees. But when she unveiled that first portrait of Miss Bobby, I was speechless. I was just speechless. And someone described it to me. I think it was Lorraine. The image that she did reminds you of the images that you see in a museum. And I couldn't capture it, but that's it.
Yes.
That's exactly. It was just amazing.
She did that.
Yes.
She is talented.
When I tell you.
And I don't know what she does for a living, but
Yes.
if that's not a part of it, she missed her calling
My goodness,
or she
yes.
missing her calling because it ain't too late.
She was
Those
amazing.
portraits are amazing. I wish we had an image of them to show because those portraits are
have
just
some pictures.
simply
We'll show those next
amazing. And we'll definitely put pictures from the conference on the Sisters and Company Facebook page so that people can get a feel for what was kind of going on in the room.
Yes, and of course, Sherelle mentioned this earlier. We cannot, leave this conversation without talking about the voice of the millennial.
Oh.
You just had to be there. If you don't even understand.
She was Coach Kelly. She was on
Coach
our show
Kelly.
a couple weeks ago.
And she has a show here on Mondays at 5:00.
Right.
She's
And
amazing.
She is. She did a great job.
She's amazing. She's my stylist. She is truly a gift and just a blessing. God puts people in your life that you need, and it's just been mutually beneficial. And then we always end with the word.
Pastor Margot.
And so we had Darnicia Harvey, my soror, who just blessed us. I mean, her word was so elegant and eloquent and just spot on about, do you know what time it is?
What? And y'all know, for people in the D.C. area, you know that go-go song.
Yes.
We turned it into a go-go song. It wasn't always one, but you know.
Yes.
Do you know what time it is?
And then Pastor Margot, she kicks it off with the invocation, and she ends with the benediction, and she is just an amazing human being.
Yes.
And of course, Minister Flay, you know, because I only have 2 notes to sing. So on my CD, Woman Thou Art Great, that we sing all the time, she sings and I do the spoken word. And so she blessed us yesterday in song with her beautiful spirit. And so, I mean, it's just a lot, and it's just overwhelming. And I'm just so humbled to be used in that fashion, because just like I was talking to someone before, you know, we go to a lot of conferences, and I didn't want the conference to be the same. I wanted it to be something that people can be moved, you know, to go out and do some great things, because we're already great. But the core of it is our spiritual life and our faith in God and a higher being. So it just includes everything about who we are as women, period.
And I want to go back to Coach Kelly, because Coach Kelly, she talked a lot about, she just really felt like her purpose is to really, you know, talk about friendship and really what that means. And she talked about whether you are a sis, S-I-S, or sus,
Sus.
S-U-S.
You should have saw the looks on the people's faces in the room when she said sus, because people were like, what is she talking about?
I knew exactly what she was talking about. And maybe because I'm closer to the millennials than I am to the baby boomers, but whatever.
Okay.
Hey, look,
We'll work with that.
That's what I'm going with.
We'll work with that.
Hey, what they say, don't let nobody kill your dream. And so, you know, she really broke it down for us. You know, what type of person are you? What type of friend are you?
That is right.
Are you that friend that's going to show up and no matter what? Or are you that type of friend when your friend come to you and say they wrote a book and you say, oh, everybody writing a book?
Yeah, that's not friendship.
That's not friendship. You know, are you that person that's going to not only be there when your friend is, down, but are you going to be there when your friend is and help your friend celebrate successes?
That's right.
And one of the other key takeaways for me was significance doesn't equal success.
That is correct.
And so when we talk about being in a season of significance, you know, that doesn't necessarily equal your professional success.
That is correct.
And so we have to really be clear about what these terms mean and how we apply them to our lives. But, you know, she talked about different types of friends, and it was interesting because she wanted the audience to raise their hand on what type of friend they were. And, you know, we have a hard time being honest about who we are as people.
Yes.
And so when she started going through the descriptor, are you the type of friend who gonna be there no matter what? You know, people put their hands up on that one. But then when she started breaking it down to, are you that type of friend are you the misery friend?
Yes.
And, you know, nobody wanted to claim that.
That's right.
So it was just phenomenal. She had
was.
props and everything.
Yes, she did.
And
That stop sign.
Yes.
Get you a stop sign.
Get you a stop sign. So when people come to you, you can just put it up and be like, stop yourself right there. And it was so funny that she had that, because that's what I've been saying lately. Like, stop it. Just stop it. Right now, just stop it.
Yes.
And so that was just so timely.
And you don't even have to say anything. You just hold that sign up.
And then
And
she
people
said
get the
she's
message.
ready, and on the other side of the stop sign, it said slow. So proceed with caution. She said in 2018, she ain't playing it no more. She ready for the people.
Yes.
So, you know, it was
Yeah.
all good, though.
To have 100+ women in the room at the same time, it's just, again, I'm just humble. I'm kind of speechless because I'm being used as that vessel, and to see it come to fruition, it's just a blessing, actually.
Absolutely. You do a great job with the conference. I'm glad you had, that you're being obedient to your calling and being in your season of significance, because I tell you, I've gone to women's conferences associated with the church. And that's a very different experience than the type of conference that you have.
Yes.
And so, I can be blessed by both. So I don't feel like I have to choose, but I really like the style. And I like the fact that, everybody gets everything.
Right.
You don't have to pick which session you want to go to. And then you have conflicting sessions and you got to feel like you're missing out on one. Everybody gets everything and everybody gets to enjoy everything together. So that's a great thing.
And let me tell you something. The vendors, I can't forget the vendors. The vendors were phenomenal, and they were kind of hand selected. I wanted to make sure that we didn't have too many of jewelry or too many of this or that. But the vendor said was they absolutely loved the fact that they were in the room with us.
Okay.
And not in another room, not in the basement. So, they were able to sit at the table and fellowship with the other women there. And then during the breaks, and it was time for them to go to their table to sell their items or promote their items, they were able to do that. And so that's the way that I would like to keep it, because I think that's so important, because they need to hear what we're saying too.
Yes.
And be a part of it. And then people can look at them and they're like, oh, you're at my table, so I know you're a vendor, so I can come in and support you.
Right, exactly.
And then we had our before we moved, I always believe in bringing our younger generation up. And we had a lot of younger women there this year, which says a lot to me. And I'm so happy. And every one of them talked about how much they got out of the conference. These are young women. I'm like in their 20s, and some of them not even 20 yet.
Right.
But then we had our young entrepreneur, Kayla Hill. I just love her. I love her. Her parents, I know they're looking at me like, don't steal our baby. But she's a photographer.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you something. She had her little booth set up. People were going over there. She had a line so long because you were able to take a picture of you, and you can walk away with your picture in your hand. And they were quality pictures. It was just beautiful. So we just do full circle.
And I think, I heard women talking about the fact that it wasn't price gouging on the pictures.
No.
That the pictures was just so reasonable that
$5.
they had no other choice but really to patronize such, a young entrepreneur. And we have to do more of that. We have to start supporting, our young entrepreneurs' dreams.
Yes.
And so the fact that, I've seen Kayla in a variety of settings, and she always has her camera and ready to go. And she also has her sidekick with her.
Yeah.
Working.
Kristen.
Yes. And they get the bickering back and forth. And, I was checking them out yesterday, but they worked through it.
Yes. It was just incredible. And, of course, I got up and went to church. I had to take my parents and my friend to church, and it was a good day. They did the 7 last sayings. It was beautiful. Every minister preached 5 minutes on the 7 last sayings, and Ira did the last saying number 4, atonement. And so he did a good job with that, and so it was good. So we've had a full day, and then we just went to brunch, and so here we are.
Okay, and I got up and laid down. Because I was tired. Because all that MCing yesterday, I was looking cute, but I tell you, you want to talk about real talk? I had on the cutest shoes, but they hurt my feet so I needed to rest up today. So I got up this morning and laid down some more. And I was laying down so good. Kiki texted me and said, "Are we gonna have breakfast?" I was glad she did, because I probably would have left her in Maryland. I forgot she was even with me. So I was like, whoo, I was so in my own world. I thought I was rolling solo. I was like, good thing you text me, girl, because you was about to be left. I hadn't even realized Trina was still there. I was just chilling.
Wow.
So, but we all had breakfast. It was all good. We got to, interact with some of the ladies that stayed at the hotel as well.
Oh my goodness. It's a beautiful space.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Space.
I'll tell you, when you talk about attendees,
my God,
the older,
yes,
seasoned ladies there are hilarious.
I love them.
They are absolutely hilarious. They were saying all kind of stuff to me yesterday, and so it was all good though.
My new chapel family, the seniors, the all of my students from Strayer University. My sorors, my family that drove from Chicago, that flew from Chicago, and just everybody that we know from our personal lives,
yes.
Cousins on my husband's side. It was just, So we could go on and on and on, but we do have some people here who need to chime in on the conversation. And so if you want to call in, of course, you know the number is 833-202-855.
8255.
8255. Say it again.
833-202-TALK. Hey, that's all right. We all need to be working with, because I had a case of mistaken identity yesterday, but it was all good.
Yeah,
we
that's
sang
right.
happy. Hey, Dr. Pam Love,
Yeah,
you should have been there.
Pam Love.
Hey, Pam was mistaken for Pam.
That's
so go
right.
figure. They say we all look alike anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna introduce you to our guests.
Yes.
Thank you. Welcome to Sisters in Company Talking About It live show. Hosted by me, Dr. Sharon Cradle and Sherelle Higgins. We will be discussing intriguing, intricate, inspirational, informative, and intelligent topics with our individual twists and talents.
We will present real stories, real solutions, and engage in real talk.
So we invite you to be our company every Sunday afternoon at 3:00 p.m. as we focus on transcendent thinking that will move you forward. You become the company you keep. What company do you keep?
Oh yeah, we are biological sisters by way of the south side of Chicago. So get ready to keep company with us and our guests as we talk about it.
Welcome to Sisters in Company Talking About It live show. Hosted by me, Dr. Sharon Cradle and Sherelle Higgins. We will be discussing intriguing, intricate, inspirational, informative, and intelligent topics with our individual twists and talents.
We will present real stories, real solutions, and engage in real talk.
So we invite you to be our company every Sunday afternoon at 3:00 p.m. as we focus on transcendent thinking that will move you forward. You become the company you keep. What company do you keep?
Oh yeah, we are biological sisters by way of the south side of Chicago. So get ready to keep company with us and our guests as we talk about it.
Welcome to Sisters in Company Talking About It live show. Hosted by me, Dr. Sharon Cradle and Sherelle Higgins. We will be discussing intriguing, intricate.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Our broadcast engineer Jay just said, "Are you ready?" I told him, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. You know how it goes.
Yes. And if you want to call in during this segment, 833-202-8255.
This part is going to be really fun because the
Yes.
ladies sitting on the couch, they trying to figure out which one of them going to avoid talking on that microphone. So we just going to call the people out.
Yes. So who do we have in the center here? A lot of people can't see, so maybe I need to.
They can see it from that screen over there.
And hopefully you're on listenvisionlive.com, because that's the only way you're going to see. If you're on Facebook, you're going to be able to see my father and my mom, Mert.
Yes. So, okay, here we go. I'm going to start with Trina because Trina was one of our speakers. And I just want Trina to just like give us the highlight of what you talked about at the conference.
Is this working?
Yes, it is.
All right. I'm Trina. Thank you, Sherelle and Sharon.
Oh, anytime.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, I see you in the corner.
What I talked about is women having their mammograms, not being afraid to have their mammograms. It's a 10-minute process at the most, and it's nothing to be afraid of. If it does hurt, it's not going to last that long. encouraging the younger women to come in and have their mammograms and not scare them. Because a lot of times they're scared because of what we said the process is going to be. And thanks, Sharon, that didn't work. But they're scared of the process because what we said it was. If we tell them it's going to hurt, then they're going to be afraid to get it. And cancer is getting people or getting young ladies at an earlier and earlier age. So they don't need to be afraid of a painful mammogram. If you had a baby, you can have a mammogram. If you have terrible menstrual cramps, you can have a mammogram. So it's nothing like that. So I encourage them to get their mammograms and get them regularly. Know their breast tissue, so if something new occurs in the breast tissue, they're aware of it and have it checked out. The conference was wonderful.
She on the road now,
Yeah.
y'all.
We laughed, we cried, we encouraged, we scolded and molded. What I'm going to work on is purging and pruning, or pruning and purging, however which way that went. It was I was very happy to have my mom there, my daughter, my niece, and one of my very best friends who is a survivor of breast cancer. So it was great. I loved it, as
Great.
usual.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. You know, it's interesting. We are hesitant to get mammograms, but like Trina said, if you had a baby, you can get a mammogram. And it was, you know, when I went and got my first mammogram, I was so nervous just because of what everybody said a mammogram was and how painful it was. And when the lady was done, I was like, right. I was like, that's it? She was like, yeah. Right. I was like, for real?
That's all.
And she was like, well, I need you to rub off on my other patients. I was like, and maybe because I'm heavier chested than some women. I could see if you have small breasts, how that would be extraordinarily painful.
Size has nothing to do with it. It's an individual tolerance for the exam.
Oh, okay, but then scratch that. It wasn't that bad to me.
Yeah, it's not the size of the breast, it's the individual tolerance for the exam. The women with smaller breasts think the same thing about the women with larger breasts.
Oh, okay.
So it's the person.
Okay. All right, well, let's go ahead and get this over with. We're going to call Kiki up next.
Kiki was my diamond honoree.
And yes, I was.
She was so surprised.
I thought she was giving me $1 million for a second.
Maybe next year.
She was speechless.
Yes, I really was. I sat in the chair for like a good 2 minutes.
I know,
They
we
was
had
like,
to send
Kiki.
people
I
over
was
there.
like, yeah.
She's a crier.
I am. I just want to say thank you, Sharon. Thank you. The portrait was beautiful.
Yes, amazing.
Yes.
I wish I had it with me, but unfortunately I don't. My niece has it in her car.
Okay.
But I'm gonna put it on Facebook and I'm gonna tag people. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. and there you have it. You heard it here first. Her first public appearance. We tried to get her to do this show with us, but you see what happened, right?
But we do have 2 backups in here after Lorraine goes.
Okay. All right. Come on, Lorraine.
Okay.
Low.
You got your notes? Is that notes I see over
Yes,
there?
I do.
She got notes over there. You know her and Sharon friend. She got notes.
I definitely do. But just before I go to my notes, I want to say I went to all 3 conferences and they get better and better and better. What I like about it is the realness. It is truth. It is no chaser. No chaser. And with that said, people can relate in the audience. If for example, the whole breast cancer thing, if there was somebody there that did not tell that they are going through it, or if somebody who did not understand the whole mammogram, when they left there, that person that did not tell, they went and told somebody immediately.
Yes.
And if someone's going to take a mammogram, they got a little eased about the whole process.
Right.
What I loved about it was Coach Kelly. I loved the sister and the sis.
Yes.
And that's what my notes are about.
Yes.
Because basically what I took from it was the sis is what I strive to try to do every day, as be real with somebody, help them, and do whatever it is I can to help them. If they're having a bad day or if they're having a good day, I can help them either way.
Yes.
The other thing is I have a friend who I gave a card to her years ago, which says, a friend is somebody who knows you and is still your friend.
Yeah. Oh,
And that is totally,
wow.
that's, when I read it,
Yes.
it just fits.
Yes.
The sus, there's a lot of sus. And what you have to learn about the sus is that those are people that you've kind of grown away from. They can still be your friend, but they're at a different level. And if you can reach, not to say reach down to them, but if you can reach them in what you're doing and what you're striving to do, then that's fine. If you can't, you keep doing what you do, and hopefully one day you could lead by example, and they'll find out.
Yes.
They'll get it.
Wonderful. I like that.
So what do we want to do? Because time is of the essence. Again, it goes by so fast. We want to pass the mic to Mert. To our mom, Mert. They're just sitting there looking all fly.
Right,
Mert
right.
thought she was going to get off that easy.
Uh-huh.
So pass the mic to
She
Mert.
has a mic, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
she has a
Mert.
mic.
So what say ye, Mert? Mert is fabulous,
It's already
y'all.
on, Mert. Mert.
It's on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're just talking about what
Oh,
was
she-
a takeaway from the conference
she,
for you.
she ain't been here.
What I got from the conference. Well,
Hold the mic
hello
up to you.
everybody.
Yeah.
Hello everybody. And I was an honoree last year, and of course I'm speechless. I'm like Kiki. I don't talk, and I never publicly said thank you, Sharon, for my portrait. I love it, and thank you so much. What I like about the conference is for each year, which I've been there all 3 years too, we talk about things that women don't talk about. They don't talk about. We had some heavy subjects and not so heavy subjects, but in talking about them, everybody could relate to them in some way or another.
Yes.
So,
Awesome.
And can you pass my dad the mic? Because he just sitting up here looking fly. He wasn't at the conference or nothing.
When he comes
And for those who are on Listen Vision Live, just so you know, he is legally blind. And yes, he is fly like that. He just sitting up here looking fly. He like, I don't know what happened at the conference. I just came to look good.
That is quite true. I am the parent of these two wonderful young ladies. I'm reflecting back, and I'm very proud of them. When they were younger growing up, they listened to me sometimes. Now that they're grown and they're leading me around, I'm listening to them sometimes. It is real informative for me to come to these conferences, not be a part of, but just to sit around and listen to them, the things that they talk about. Is very informative for a man. And I appreciate y'all just having me here so I can hear some things. And I would suggest to all the men who are in relationships with women, listen to what they're talking about, man. Ask them about their body and what they're going through and how you feel about certain things. So that's all
Say
the parts
it.
God's plan, man. Yeah. And I have her social security number too.
but ask him if
Okay,
he
yeah,
know
take
my
the mic from
birthday.
him. now y'all.
you know her birthday.
Okay.
Okay, so now y'all see where I got it from, right?
That apple didn't fall from the tree at all.
Didn't fall far at all.
And then very quickly we have Kim here. So if you all can turn the Facebook around, and then Kim, you can pick up the mic. Kim was the first time attending.
Kim said she don't want no parts of that. That's why she was sitting on that side of the room. She thought we were easily discouraged.
I just want to say I was empowered, educated, and informed all in one. And like I love how Sherelle talked about, do you have the girlfriend that can ride on the limousine with you,
Yeah.
but also on the bus and never get off?
Yeah.
That they stay true to you through the good and the bad. Plus, it's just so inspiring when you hear women. We always say that we trust the Lord and that we love the Lord, but when you're really going through, are you still going to stand on that? So the women and their testimonies about what they've been through and how it is a sister to sister. Everybody is helping one another through the process of their trials and tribulations. And your parents are fabulous. I mean, just stunning. You're right. We see where we get that sense of humor from because Daddy is hilarious. Yes. And it's so good to see the tag team of the two of you all, straightforward and unafraid and transparent and then, sophisticated too. So I enjoyed the conference. It was really enlightening and I appreciate it. Well, Lita, it's your turn.
Right, that's right. You ain't getting out of it. All right, we got about 30 seconds, Will Leader.
Thank you all for such a wonderful conference, and I too have been at all three,
Yes.
and it's just been so enlightening, and I'm just looking forward for what God has in store for the conference next year.
Oh, great. Look, that's what I'm talking about. Straight to the point. That's what you call straight with no chaser. Okay, well, our time is coming to an end.
Yes.
We are certainly pumped and excited about the conference. As you can see, it's great having our friends and family here in the studio with us. My dad is hilarious. That's all I got to say.
And so, yes, we are excited. We have some phenomenal shows planned for you coming up. And
Look, we do.
yeah, absolutely.
We do.
We have a realtor,
Yes.
and a
And-
mortgage
Yes.
lender.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
we got
that's
quite
right.
a few people. She forgot. See, that's why I write down notes so I won't forget. And so thank you all so much for tuning in today. It has really been a blessing, and we really appreciate your support. Remember, you can always log in on listenvisionlive.com so that you can see the entire show.
Yes.
We come to you from Facebook and from social media just to kind of remind you, but it's so important to go on listenvisionlive.com.
Yes.
And so hopefully when the mortgage lender and the realtor is on the show, you'll be able to call in and really ask some questions.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you all later. Enjoy
Yes.
your Sunday.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.